Hey guys, just got back from the cheap theater from seeing Rush. I know this is like another catch up day on a movie I hadn't seen yet. Usually, my original plan was to kind of go see Bad Grandpa this week, but just to give you a heads up, uh, I I can't promise that my Bad Grandpa review will be coming tomorrow or this weekend. The latest it might come is Wednesday. It depends on what's going on. I got a lot going on over the next few days, and because of that, I won't be able to go to the theater like I usually do. And I have a lot more important things going on than going to see the new Jackass movie, which I am looking forward to. But I just have a lot more bigger priorities, and obviously I will get around to watching it. I still will. Just expect it later than usual. But anyways, I figured I almost did go see Bad Grandpa tonight. There was like a 9 p.m. screening tonight, but I decided to go see Rush instead because I knew it's been out for a while and I had been kind of hadn't got the chance to go see it. And because of that, I wanted to see it before it left theaters, and it was at the cheap theater. And I figured, what the hell? It's only $5 to go see it. If I don't like it, I only had to spend $5 to see it. Um, Rush was a movie that I wasn't particularly looking forward to. I mean, it wasn't that the movie looked bad or anything. It was just like I wasn't. It, I am not. I'm not a real huge racing fan, and because of that, I, you know, the movie didn't really interest me that much. It did have great actors like Chris Hemsworth and stuff like that in it, but and it's also being directed by Ron Howard, who I really like. I mean, good God, that guy's come a long way since Opie, being Opie as in Andy Griffith, but now he's an Oscar-winning actor. I mean, I know he's made some bad movies here and there, but I have enjoyed him a lot as a director, and I think he's a really good director. Uh, but yeah, I wasn't really particularly looking forward to it, and also I got the trailers for this movie almost in front of every movie I've seen. I'm trying to remember last when I first got the trailer for this film. It feels like it was like earlier this year, like back in April. I got trailers for this movie, and I don't know if that's true or not, but it's been a long time. I've got these trailers for months and months and months and months, and because of that, I kind of got sick of seeing this trailer, and I always felt like, I'll talk about the trailers more in my review, but anyways, I wasn't really looking forward to it as much, and then the reviews started coming out uh, like last month, and they were really really good, and it was getting a lot of Oscar talk too. So I was thinking, well, I gotta go see this. It's certified fresh. It's getting Oscar talk. It's gotta be good, right? Honestly, after seeing this movie, this is one of the better films of the year, in my opinion. This is a pretty big surprise for me that this is one of my this is probably gonna be on my top 10 list. This was really good, solid film. I really enjoyed it. Ron Howard made a movie about racing and it made it interesting. And the reason why I like this movie more than some other racing movies is that this is more a character driven story. It's not about it's there are racing parts in it, but there's not the racing parts in it don't take up the whole movie. It's more about these two characters or these two real life people and their rivalry, and it makes it for a really compelling movie, in my opinion. The best thing about this movie is Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl. And I know I'm probably mispronouncing Daniel Bruhl's name. I apologize. I know it's like German or something, and I don't know how to say his name. But, anyways, these two really carry this movie. And I give them a hell of a lot of credit. The filmmakers a lot of credit. I actually looked up photos of the original or of the people that they are playing, and they look spot on, like literally like their counterparts. It's kind of funny and kind of eerie, especially Chris Hemsworth looks a lot like the real guy he's playing. Forgetting his name off the top of my head. Sorry about that. But he looks exactly like him, and so does Daniel Bruhl, and that's pretty cool. But also, the interaction between the two are really, really good. They both play very good characters. Chris Hemsworth is basically playing a very cocky racer who's basically just a playboy and is in the racing business basically for the fame, the fortune, the money. He wants the championship only because he knows what comes with it. And Daniel Bruhl is basically also a cocky, really cocky racer who's arrogant, and a lot of people don't like him, like Chris Hemsworth. But he is more of an intelligent person, and also is more in for the love of racing than anything else. And they of course butt heads, and they are rivals. And I know this is based off of two real people, and they are really good. They fit both roles very well. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is pretty convincing as a playboy-esque kind of character. I mean, look at Chris Hemsworth. I mean, ladies go gaga over him. I mean, you can believe that women would be falling head over heels for him. He plays the role well. I like Chris Hemsworth a lot. Ever since I saw him in 4. 4 was the first big role that I've seen him in, and I think he's really good. He's become one of my favorites. I know he was in Star Trek, the remake of Star Trek, briefly at the beginning, but didn't really get to see his acting chops until 4. And I think he's done really well for himself, and he's probably going to get an Oscar nomination, definitely. If he does, I have no issue there. But I think the strongest of the two is Daniel Bruhl, who, this is a breakout performance for this kid. And this is more of a movie. This is more a movie about him than either of the two, because a lot of the main focus is on him, and there's a good reason, because he's really good in this movie, and his story's more interesting, honestly, out of the two. And honestly, he's the one you kind of root for more than anybody, because you kind of sympathize with his character even before his accident in the movie. I'm not spoiling this movie, because if you have seen the trailers, I'll talk about the trailers in a minute. Seeing the trailers, you know that he gets in an accident. If you know the story, you know he gets in a horrible accident. But he's a likable character, and he even though he's really cocky, he really backs it up. He's a really intelligent person, and Daniel Bruhl, I didn't see the only thing I remember seeing him in. I had to look him up because I was like, that guy does look familiar, and I looked him up and I was like, he was in the Glorious Bastards. The last role I've seen him in was in Glorious Bastards, where he was playing that guy who, that soldier that they made a Nazi propaganda film that they showed at that theater where they blew up the theater. And I was like, oh, that guy, alright. And, I didn't get to, he was alright in that movie. He was pretty good in that, but he's really good in this. And he's probably going to get he's going to get a lot he's definitely going to get Oscar consideration. I would hope so, because he's really good in this. He carries this movie, and the transformation that happens to him in this movie is really hard to watch. Especially, there are parts of this movie that are really hard to watch. Especially when after the accident, when he's in the hospital and they're showing him taking off the bandages. The doctors are taking off the bandages, and you're seeing all this dead skin and pussy skin, and it's just disgusting. And they're sticking a vacuum down his throat so they can suck out all the gunk that's out in his lungs because he basically burns up his lungs and his face, and it's like his face is fucked up. And the guy's still alive. It's amazing that guy's still alive after all that. That I really, really can't believe that guy lived through all that. That's amazing, and he's still alive to this day. I was looking up, and he actually said he really liked this movie. So he got a seal of approval from him. And I actually do like how the movie ends with his character, because it makes sense. And his decision at the end of the movie, why he does what he does, and I thought that was smart. Out of both characters, he made the smartest decision, and I won't give it away, but like what he does at the end of the race, I really liked, as that made sense. I would do the same thing if I were him. After all the shit he'd been through, I would do the exact same thing he does in the final race. Even though some people might disagree, I believe this really did happen, but it makes sense for that character to do that. And I like that. One thing I will say about this movie that I also did really like before I get into one negative, I really did like the racing in this movie. The racing was pretty good. It shows Ron Howard's directing chops. Because the scenes are really well done. And if it was given to a different director, it'd be all shaky cam and you couldn't tell what the hell was going on. Ron Howard keeps the camera still for the most part. Obviously, they're in the scenes that involve racing, there are going to be shaky cam, but it's not as bad as some directors are, and it's not like doesn't take up half, like almost 100%, 50% of the scene, and that's good to know. I mean, like I said, if it was a less competent director than Ron Howard, they would be doing all shaky cam, and that would be really annoying. And that would ruin the movie for me, because half the time we have shaky cam, you can't even tell what's going on, and especially in scenes like that, you have to tell what the hell's going on, because you got to kind of tell who the hell's winning the race. Because I really fucking hate shaky cam. I somebody asked a goddamn good question, and I'm going off a rant, but somebody asked a good question. Who really likes shaky cam? Somebody explain that. I haven't heard anybody who likes shaky cam. It's terrible. It's lazy. Lazy filmmaking. And fucking filmmaking 101 is that you have to keep a camera still. I don't understand. Fucking filmmakers nowadays are terrible. Some filmmakers nowadays are fucking terrible. Oh, God. But anyways, one thing I can complain about this movie, and it's kind of not particularly about the movie, it's about the trailer. Because I kind of was annoyed when I first saw the trailer for this movie, the first trailer for this movie that got released. Because basically, this movie goes, like, shows you almost, like, bit for bit what happens in this whole movie. It goes for the whole movie in the trailer, and it shows you everything that happens almost, basically. Like, it shows you the accident, it shows you, like, the rivalry at the beginning, and then it shows you the accident, and then it shows Daniel Bruhl's character basically recovering from the accident and going to race again. And you're like, there's no, like, because of that, there's no, tension, because you know what's going to happen, And I know some people will say, well, it is based off a true story, and if you know the story, you know that this happens. Well, I guarantee you, most people going in this movie don't know the actual story. Because it's not Formula One racing isn't exactly a beloved sport in America. I mean, obviously in Europe it is, but obviously here it isn't. And because of that, I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't actually know the story. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty confident on that. If you made a movie about NASCAR, I'm sure some people would know like Dale Earnhardt or somebody. Everybody would know that story, but being that this is Formula One racing, I guarantee you people wouldn't know about this. And like I said, the problem is like the trailer reveals a lot about this movie that you know, like, so when the stuff happens in the movie, it's not very suspenseful. Like, you know he's gonna get pulled through and that he's gonna recover and then he's gonna, you know, start racing again, and it's not suspenseful whatsoever. That's the only problem I had with this movie, is that the trailer just gave way too much. Trailers do that a lot nowadays. I heard a lot of people say that about the trailer for the remake of Carrie, even though Carrie's like a remake and that most people have seen the original Carrie, so everybody mostly knows the story of Carrie anyways, so it's not really spoiling anything for that. I mean, if you've seen the original, you know what happens. But yeah, I could see why people bitch about the trailer for Carrie too. But anyways, I highly recommend this movie. Really, really, I do. It is one of the better films of the year. Probably gonna be on one of my top. It's probably gonna be on my top 10 list. I can probably guarantee you that. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's at a cheap movie theater, and it hasn't been making that much business over here in America, and that kind of is a shame, especially for how good it is. I mean, luckily movies like Gravity and Captain Phillips are making a lot of money, but this movie should be making some money too. But I think this movie got really overlooked by audiences, and that sucks. There's been a lot coming out over the last month or so that have been really good, and that's probably why this movie's been overlooked. And that's, like I said, it's a shame. But anyways, I'll be back sometime between now and Wednesday with a Bad Grandpa review. Like I said, I won't be, I got a lot going on. I'll tell you guys what's going on. I'm actually shooting a movie myself. For the next 5 days, and because of that, I'm getting paid to do it, and because of that, I'm obviously not gonna have much time to go to movie theaters. I might go to a late screening of Bad Grandpa if I can, but if I can't, it'll definitely come. My review for the movie will come definitely on Wednesday. So expect sometime between then and now. A review for Bad Grandpa. Alright, so I'll get off here now, and I'll talk to you guys later.